Hi, this is Jamie with Over a Cup of Coffee, and we are so excited to welcome you back today. We're going to be talking about hobbies and interests and getting out of your comfort zone, and we're going to be talking about the Argentine tango. So we're glad you're here to join us.
Hi, welcome to the next episode of Over a Cup of Coffee with Jamie and Addie. We are excited to be here today with one of our really good friends, but first, I'm going to ask Jamie, how have you been?
I've been great. We do this podcast normally from Farmington, New Mexico, which is in the northwest corner of New Mexico, but now we're doing it from Seattle, Washington, because it is seriously like Seattle out there. No, and Addie's like, what?
Lost her brain. No, it is. It does feel like the Pacific Coast.
Yes, Pacific.
It is. It's chilly.
I meant the Pacific Northwest.
It is the first week of spring in the high desert, which always brings snow and wind and rain. And
it's been very gloomy, though. For an entire week. Which is why my hair looks like this, people, because it's windy, and then I was getting ready, and I realized I didn't have any hairspray, so...
and thank goodness most of this is just listening.
A lot of rain. Yes, a lot of rain.
Yeah.
Not great hair.
It's good for the skin, though.
Yeah. So anyway, it has been very rainy, and seriously, we do this podcast from Farmington, New Mexico, and we have a really fun guest today who I have known actually since second grade. And we went to school together in Durango, Colorado. For, again, our listeners, that is just over the state line. And so our guest is Jaccinda, and she's here today to talk about her dancing that she does. But we also thought we would broaden it a little bit into just different activities and hobbies that we do throughout our life. So welcome, Jaccinda, to Over a Cup of Coffee.
Thank you. I have to say, we've tried to get Jaccinda on a few times, and it hasn't worked out. So I'm glad that you're finally here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate the invite.
Yeah. So we grew up in Durango, Colorado, and we did know each other in second grade, and then went through. We went to separate junior highs, but then came back together in high school. So we have known each other a very long time. And before we came on air, I was talking to her about, needing to organize high school reunions and things like that. So I think we're going into our 40-year high school reunion, right?
Years.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
So for our Durango friends listening, 40 years, that's crazy. But anyway, so tell us about your dancing, because this is something. When did you start doing the dancing competitions?
Oh, wow. Well, I originally started dancing when I was probably 4 years old.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Mrs. Cornelius.
Oh.
I took tap and jazz from her, and I wanted to be in the back of the room the entire time. I didn't like dancing in front of people. And so kind of have done it my whole life on and off. And then in my 20s, I started going to the Wild Horse.
Fun times there.
Well, I think I was 21.
Okay, yeah, 21. Yes.
They can let you in at 18. They're just not drink.
Right.
Well, and the Wild Horse is a saloon, but it's dancing in Durango. But it's been around a long time.
It has been, and that's where I met my first husband, actually. But I started really dancing there, and it was kind of like the cowboy two-step, probably not done right. Just that kind of thing for a long time. And then at some point, probably in my late 40s, I started taking dance lessons to do like ballroom.
And was that through a class in Durango?
It was, yes. It was waltz and two-step and swing and things like that, cha-cha. I went to some salsa lessons. I was just kind of trying to figure out, like I love moving my body, but I'm also really nervous to move my body. And I was really nervous to dance in front of people and with other people because I was used to dancing with the same person for 21 years, my husband of 21 years. And so dancing with other people made me nervous, and also dancing in front of people made me nervous. And then at some point I met somebody that introduced me to Argentine tango, and we had a pretty strong tango community at that point.
And it's in Durango still too?
Yes. After, when COVID hit, everything kind of went to the wayside, and then several people moved out of town and things like that. But we're trying to revive the tango community right now. And, there's still a little bit of ballroom dancing, and there's tap and jazz and salsa, things like that.
How fun. I think that's so interesting.
So
with the television show Dancing with the Stars, which I can't remember when that first aired years and years ago. It had so many seasons, but I think people really got into dancing, the real dance steps. And I think it's funny, if you read or if you watch movies or if you read books that took place in like the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, everybody knew these dance steps. Like everybody knew how to foxtrot, or everybody knew how to do these very specific dance styles. And I don't think that we do so much anymore. So I don't know. I would love to be able to just get out there and, it's a foxtrot. Oh, it's the swing, like California swing, or, and do those. But I think that those classes of learning how to dance as part of school
they went to the wayside.
Yeah, I don't think they're around anymore.
No, because I remember learning how to do the waltz, but also, of course, like the square dancing. That was something that we were still doing through, I think, junior high when I was growing up. But I was going to ask you, with the Argentine tango, is that like the original tango, or is that a different version or form?
Well, first of all, my disclaimer is I don't really do competition. I don't really do dance competitions. I mean, I'm like you. I did the Dancing with the Durango Stars twice. And that was basically,
twice.
I did it twice. The first time we actually won, my partner and I won the competition, and we raised the most money and things like that for the charity. But the second time was this last summer, and my partner had COVID for most of the time. So we just decided that we were going to just impromptu get up on the stage and dance to a song. I just told him, just try to lead me and I'll try to follow. And so we were probably the only couple that didn't have, much practice under our belts. And it was fun. And then I did a waltz competition once at the Wild Horse with the guy I was dating, and we ended up winning that. But other than that, I don't really compete in dancing. So my disclaimer is I'm really not. I just am having fun with it and trying to explore which kind of dances are my favorite dance. And so in doing that, I've done a lot. I know a little bit about a lot of dances, but I wouldn't say I'm really have mastered any one of them yet.
Well, and I don't think the mastery is the point. I mean, I think it's just trying new things and
building a community and meeting new people and
and getting outside of maybe your comfort zone. Like you said, you were not comfortable dancing in front of people and with other people. So it did bring you out of your comfort zone. And I was thinking about this morning about, I wanted to ask on Facebook, which I didn't get around to, but I wanted to ask, and maybe we'll ask people to comment in on our Facebook when this podcast comes out, but what are your hobbies? What do you do that on your spare time, your free time,
what
that
fulfills you?
Right, exactly. And obviously dancing for you has become something that is, I imagine, not only great exercise, but it's good mentally. When I was in Dancing with the Farmington Stars, which, by the way, they never asked me to come back twice, so I guess that's all we need to say about that. But
you did great.
But it was mentally hard because I had to learn all those steps in such a short period of time. And so I always thought I was pretty coordinated, but when you have to learn those steps and you're working with a partner, it's very mentally, you have to really pay attention to what you're doing. So do you find that? I mean, it's just a good mental exercise as well?
I feel like out of all the dances that I've tried to learn, there's some that I find myself smiling all the time doing, and that would be country swing. I just look at my partner and we can't help but smile.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot to think about. You're just there having fun. And then when I started Argentine tango, I would say on the scale of 1 to 10, Argentine tango is probably a 12.
Oh, wow.
As far as difficulty. And another dance that I'm learning right now is West Coast swing, which is really different than East Coast swing.
Yes.
But I would say that's about a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10.
But it looks so fun, though.
It's so much fun, and I think those are my two favorite dances, other than I really love the waltz, but I think the reason why those are my two favorite dances is because they are difficult and they have broke me down as a woman in so many ways that, I mean, literally broke me down and rebuilt me into a more confident person. And, you know, all the pain that comes with that.
Oh, interesting.
I think they are my favorite now because they have given me some type of rebirth into a new, more confident woman.
Oh, I think the confidence too. I think when you do get outside of that box and you try something, it gives you that confidence that no matter where you are in your life, it's like, okay, I can still learn new things. I can still try new things. Just because, you know, myself personally am in my mid-50s, that doesn't mean I can't learn new things all the rest of my life, which is kind of what we talked about at the Women's Summit, was that idea of reimagining and reinventing yourself throughout your lifetime.
Yeah, well, and because you never know when it's going to hit you. You never know when a change of life is going to happen, whether it's an illness, whether it's a relationship change, whether it's a housing change, even just friendships. Long-term, short-term friendships change, and that changes you too. And that I love the breaking down and rebuilding a more confident woman. I just love that you found that through specific dances even, and not...
I think I have, yeah. I mean, there's some that you just don't... I think in all the dances, you need to be present where you're at. You know, you really need to be where your feet are. And your mind can't really be like, I wonder if I left my lights on, or I wonder what I'm having for dinner tonight. It's like being there and giving the gift of your presence to someone else. And also just settling into who you are as a person, and bringing who you are and accepting that, and accepting the person that's in front of you for everything they are and everything they bring, and just really trying to stay in the moment. And I think for me, tango is probably the one that does that the most, is you really have to be right where your feet are in the moment, and you can't worry about what's coming next. You can't worry about, oh my gosh, did I mess up? You just do what you feel and go on, you know.
And let somebody else lead you.
Right? Yes,
because that was the thing that I struggled with when I was married, trying to dance with my husband. I struggled with it, and he would like squeeze my hand, and I knew that I was pulling a different direction. And then he would tell me when we were done dancing, quit trying to lead. Quit trying to take over, quit trying to direct us where we're going. But, you know, also knowing myself, having my own breakdowns and rebuilding, I understand looking at that relationship and who we both were. I didn't trust him. I didn't trust where he was going to lead me, whether we were on the dance floor or at home. And so therefore I was always in mode of, no, we're going to go this way. No, we're going to go this way. And so I haven't really, I've danced with one person, and I've been divorced for a long time now, and I'm terrified to get back out there and try to learn how to dance with anybody. I can dance by myself, but I'm literally terrified of it.
Yeah, it is definitely a process to get comfortable with that, and it's been part of my journey, is just being comfortable with my own self, you know, and learning who I am and loving who I am. And once I started learning that, you know, accepting me and everything I could bring and everything I didn't think I could bring, and just accepting that that's what it is, and honoring that, and just learning who I am and loving who I am, it's helped me come into somebody else's space and accept them better too. And
it's funny, because I was thinking as you were talking about that, since I've known you for so long, through, again, elementary school and junior high and high school, and we are all in that period of our life trying to figure out who we are. But like you said, accepting who you are, loving yourself and your life, that often doesn't come until so much later, like kind of where we are now. And I doubt we have any junior high middle schoolers listening to this podcast, but if we do, you're not going to have it figured out in junior high and middle school. I know they don't even call it junior high anymore. That's how old I am. But middle school, I mean, it's such a difficult time. And I even remember our 10-year and our 20-year high school reunions. The 10-year was just like everybody coming in to just sort of show how great they were doing, and so much ego. Yeah, I'm doing great. And then I didn't really feel like people settled in until about the 30th reunion. It's like, okay, some had been getting married, some had been divorced, some had children. So, you know, everybody was kind of getting comfortable in their own skin 30 years after we graduated from high school. You know, it's just, it takes time. It's a process. And you're talking about finding yourself, and you're talking about finding yourself, and it's not something we have figured out from day one.
No.
So, no. Anyway. That's my big important thought of the day right there. Don't
One
give
thing I
up.
wanted to mention that you guys had brought up, I don't know about down in Farmington, but in Durango, there is a dance instructor that goes into the elementary schools, and I think it might be 5th grade, and teaches these dances, like the two-step or the swing, or some of the more, not as complicated dances, and the kids dress up, and they come and they have their partner, and they learn these little dance moves. And so I think, even at that age, they're learning how to come into themselves and how to accept somebody else in their space, and how to suggest that somebody moves a certain way. And then the girl, is learning how to let go of some of that anticipation or that power or whatever, and actually answer back with following what the leader's suggesting,
Yeah.
And the boys are learning, I'm not giving orders here. I am just making a suggestion. And she's not resisting my suggestion. Maybe she doesn't understand what I'm suggesting, and I need to figure out a different way of communicating that. And I think it's really awesome that they're learning that, in elementary school.
Oh, that is great.
Outside of the reading, arithmetic, and writing. They're learning those people skills.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great. I don't know if they're doing that in the Farmington schools or not, but I think it.
Yeah.
I know that back in the day, not that long ago, at San Juan College, they were teaching adult tap classes and ballet classes, and those classes were full all the time. And they weren't for kids; they were for adults. But the adults loved it, and especially the tap class. I know the people who took that just had such a great time. And again, another kind of dance that takes a lot of mental work to do tap. And it's great exercise and such a fun way to be out with people and doing something like that. And just, again, for our listening audience, we are talking with Jaccinda. She's from Durango, Colorado, and she's up here visiting us in Farmington today. And it's a blustery, windy day, but spring and summer are on the way, and we have a few events that are coming up, but our Women's Summit is right around the corner in November. I say that because November, you would be amazed how much work I'm actually doing on the Women's Summit, and it's March, and it's not till November, but it will be around the corner.
I was thinking about that with the email this morning with the, talking about the agenda for it, and or for the meeting for tomorrow, and I'm like, we've already done so much work, and I know you've already done even more work, and again, it's like March to November, but that, and there's multiple events that we're both working on, and different. I just added a new committee to help hire somebody that we need in the community, and so that we had our first meeting for that yesterday, and it was exciting to be a part of that, and a very new grouping of people for me, and so. But I was thinking about that too, and we did a timeline on it, and we're looking at possibly October 1st, finding the right candidate. And I'm like, that's going to come so fast, and especially when it's broken down by task every couple of weeks.
Well, that's why the years fly by, because we're looking at you talked about being present, and that's something I struggle with always. Is I try to be present, and I find that I'm constantly
we're always
not
forecasting
in the present, and I think that has a lot to do with also listening, and I've been working on that as well. Like when you're listening, to really be present and listen, because I think it's a really hard skill, and I think we're pulled, when you're listening, I'm looking at you right now, and I'm really listening to you right now, because we're doing a podcast, and I have to be able to react to what you're going to say. But if I'm just in a conversation with you in my office, and you come in and start talking to me, I'm probably not really listening, because my mind is on 500 other things. And
well, and then also listening to respond. So that's another problem that many of us struggle with, is you're not really listening to the person who's speaking to you if you're trying to devise, put together your next response. And so that's something that I've worked on for many years, is just trying to let people speak. And sometimes I don't get to say anything at all. Then I'm okay with that. I wasn't okay with that 10 years ago, but I'm perfectly fine with that now.
Yes, that's another reason to start dancing then.
I know, I want to so bad. And I think about you all the time. And every time I see your posts with the different things that you're doing with dancing, I'm always like, oh, I should have asked her, because I really want to. And I really did love it. When I was married, I did love it. And I enjoyed, that was a happy piece of our marriage, was getting to dance. And but like it literally like tore my heart out of my body when I thought about ever dancing again with anybody else. So, even though over a decade has gone by, I'm still emotional over that piece, because it did take me the entire marriage to get comfortable dancing with a partner.
So we were talking a little bit earlier about interests, hobbies, things we take on that we never thought we would do. So other than dancing, Jaccinda, what are your other hobbies? What else do you do? What else do you enjoy doing?
Oh my gosh, I love hiking. Pretty much anybody that knows me knows that. I bought a camper van last May, so I love it. Has really changed the trajectory of my life, buying that van. So I'm finding myself doing things that I would not otherwise do. And so that's really going to be a hobby of mine from this day forward. So you just get in
the van and just go?
I get in the van and I go. I mean, I make a plan. You got to plan, or it might not be so wonderful. But yes, I go in my van and I just travel, and I have my workstation in my van, so I can do my work as long as I have internet. I can go to work every day in my van, wherever I'm at. And I like cooking. But I don't cook so much, that much anymore. I cook really simple meals now. So really dancing and hiking, and more dancing, and more camper vanning. I actually take my camper van to dance festivals. And I'm getting ready to take it. Well, I'm not going to take it to Tucson. I am going to go to a tango festival in Tucson in April.
What do you do at a tango festival?
Oh my gosh.
Do you just yeah, I want to hear what happens at a
the one
festival.
that you just went to in Mexico was a tango festival, right?
I just went to one in Puerto Vallarta, and that was after 3 years of not dancing at all.
Oh my goodness!
I would open my closet doors and look at all these beautiful dresses and all these beautiful shoes, which I bought my new pair.
Oh, she brought her shoes.
Oh, those are so pretty.
I actually bought these in Puerto Vallarta.
Dance. I couldn't even walk in those things.
Yes, and I just bought a green dress to go with that.
Those are.
I can't wait to see it all together.
Here, put it up on the table. Right there.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, like right there, like
it's
Cinderella.
My little slippers.
Yeah, there you go.
But
there's an incentive right there to get rid of pretty clothes.
And
I know.
That was fun because I got to open my closet and pull out dresses and shoes, and I bought 3 pair of shoes in Mexico. And I like to support the vendors wherever I go, especially in Mexico.
So do they do classes?
Yeah, they do workshops.
Workshops.
And you get to pick what you want to work on, and then you go to workshops all day. And then they have a thing called a milonga.
Oh, okay.
Or they'll have guided practicas, which a guided practica is an instructor will come in, and whoever shows up, they ask the instructor, hey, I'm trying to work on this skill, or I'm trying to refine this move or whatever, and the instructor will help them, and then everybody just kind of dances. And then they have milongas, which is a social dance, and those usually start around 8 p.m. and they go till about 5 o'clock the next morning.
Oh my gosh, all night?
And you repeat that times about 7 days.
Oh my goodness.
That's what we did in Puerto Vallarta anyway, and so by the last day my foot was swollen because I wore shoes like this all week and walked on the beach during the day, and and did workshops all day long.
So if you have never danced in your life,
that's so cool.
Would you go to one of these or no?
Not tango.
Okay.
But I just got back from New Mexico. I went to a West Coast Swing workshop, and I'm very new at West Coast Swing. And like I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably a 10 for me as far as difficulty. But I went by myself, and I didn't really know anybody there. And it was so awesome. There were everybody in the dance community that I've experienced anyway has been really nice.
Probably very welcoming, especially.
Very welcoming, very nice. Every now and then somebody will try to give you tips, and it's usually they mean well. But then I go into my head and say, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
I'm not good enough to be here. Like, I should have done that. And, so I would just encourage any of the leaders out there, if they're dancing with the beginner dancer, just to be nice and smile and, try to enjoy the moment, because it's only a moment, then it's over after the song's over.
Right.
But at the Milongas, they have these things called tandas, and a tanda is about 3 or 4 songs. And so you stay with that partner for 3 or 4 songs.
Oh, wow.
And there's really not, how typically the leader would come and say, hey, would you like to dance with me?
Right.
In tango, that doesn't happen. There's no conversation, actually. There is, but not spoken. It's,
It's
they
like
raise their
gestures.
eyebrows. Yeah, it's like... let's hit the floor, and then if somebody did that to all 3 of us at a table, we could all 3 be thinking that he's asking us, So you kind of sit there and let them come and get you, and then you don't make a fool out of yourself by all of us standing up, and he's like, I really just wanted one of you, and so you stay with that person for 3 or 4 dances, and then he brings you back to the table, and you just do that until 5 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. Until 5 in the morning?
Well, if you can last that long. So that it's super fun, and I would probably recommend some tango lessons before you go to a festival. But I also was a very new tango dancer when I went to my first festival. And it was, like being thrown in the fire. And I was nervous, but I'm still here. I'm alive and well, and I'm still doing it. So,
have you ever done any competitions other than Dancing with the Durango Stars? Because I've done the Farmington one, but have you ever done any other competitions?
No, just one at the Wild Horse one night.
Okay.
And it was a waltz, and we won $500.
Ooh, that's a lot, actually.
Yeah, it was really fun. We didn't know that, we were like, this is cool. But that's it. I don't compete. We did a dance when I was about 1 year into tango. We did a dance for Durango Friends of the Arts, and I have never been so nervous in my life because it was tango, and I knew all these people were out. It was at Henry's Theater, and all of these people were out there going to watch me. And the only way I got out there, I remember this day. The only reason I got out there is because I was looking at all the people sitting in the chairs, and I thought, if there's one person that I inspire by doing this, I can do this. If there's one person that says, if that girl can do this, I can do it. And I'm like, I'm going to go out there and do this.
For you.
Awesome. Maybe somebody else will do it, because they were right. If I can do it, anybody can, so.
Well, and I think that anytime you do something like that where you step out of the box or take that risk, you don't know who you're inspiring. And we've talked about this before, that in our day-to-day we come across so many people, things we do, things we say, this podcast. We don't know who's listening and where they're at, who might just say, gosh, I really want to do that. And I'm going to be really curious when this podcast comes out, we post it on Facebook. I'm going to ask for those suggestions of dancing instructors in our area, because I know there's several dance studios for little ones, because little kids love to take dance, and then but I don't know. In fact, I would need to find out from San Juan College what classes are available.
I don't even know if they're still doing them.
So, but going up to Durango for classes, like what's available, because I do think it is again great physical exercise, but a good mental exercise. And we were talking about hobbies and interests, in that when I do my hobbies, I am just focused in on that, and I can let all the other stress of things kind of go, and I can focus in on what I'm doing. And I think that's why they're important. Teaches you new skills, but also gives you a break from all the work stuff you might be thinking about or worrying about. And like you said with the tango, you have to be present. You have got to be thinking of what you're doing at that time. And you can't be thinking about what you're going to cook for dinner tonight, or you might miss a step and
stumble over
fall.
your feet.
And sometimes you don't have to be thinking about anything at all. You're just there, and you're just open to receiving whatever they're suggesting and whatever energy they're giving you. You just are open to receiving that. And You know, it's more feeling instead of thinking. It's like, what am I feeling? And you do that, and maybe it's what they suggest, and maybe it's not. And if it's not what they suggest, then they say, oh, I need to ask a different way. And it's just a really nice conversation, you know. And I was going to ask you something, and I forgot what it was. So Dancing with the Stars for you in Farmington.
Right.
What... I know that's a stressful thing because I did it twice in Durango, and I could not believe that I actually did it, but I did. What helped you? What helped relieve your nerves and be able to actually get out there?
Well, I think because I had committed to doing it, so I was absolutely going to follow it through. And I had friends and family out in the audience. My sister was there, and my husband was there, and so, and again, I had committed to do it, and I wanted to do it for the community. But then there were the other people. There were 4 other community members who were also getting out there on that stage who were nervous, and I wasn't about to let anybody down. And we formed great, you know, just over that week of rehearsal time. It was very fun, and it was just harder than I thought. I'm going to be honest, because I always considered myself a pretty coordinated, decent dancer, but I think the mental part that this dance, I did the salsa, has actual like real steps. I couldn't just like get out there and free it like I always want to on the dance floor. There's actually like real steps, and the dance instructor, my partner, had to lead me, and I had to remember things. And I think that was for me when you get out on stage and you just blank and think, I don't know if I'm going to remember this. And then the music started, and I did, but yeah, it was definitely a challenge for me, definitely out of the box. And I've done a ton of performing, but for some reason, the dancing part, that was hard for me. So I don't know if I would do it again. Not that they're asking. They're not banging on the door.
They're not banging on the door either.
I remember when you bought your shoes for it even. I remember seeing your
I bought
shoes.
my shoes.
Yeah.
Yes. I still have those shoes, actually. They're quite comfortable.
That's the funnest part, I
the
think.
shoes.
Is like you know. I remember when I was competing, that's another thing that used to be one of my hobbies was women's figure and physique competitions. And I was in my 40s. I did my first one when I was 46. And the whole reason I did that is because I wanted to find confidence in who I was, you know, and I thought, oh, getting in high heels and a bikini and standing in front of, you know, thousands of people on stage, that's going to bring me confidence, you know, right? I was like, that's where it's at.
Sounds like a nightmare. It sounds like my worst nightmare.
Not only that, but like starving myself and, you know, working out so many hours.
The hard
and
side effects of that.
Yeah. And I did 5 or 6 of those, and every single time I was like, okay, this one's going to bring me the confidence I've been looking for. And I never got more confidence. And as a matter of fact, I ended up getting my pro card in 2017 at Nationals, and I'll never forget me going and getting my trophy and looking up at the crowd. I was looking out there, and I thought, I better hurry up and grab this before they catch me stealing it.
Oh, my goodness.
And I literally thought that. I was like, I didn't earn this. I missed some leg days. I ate some chocolate a couple times, and like, I'm not good enough to be here, you know, But I can go back to those days and say, you know what, I may not have ever found the confidence, and maybe I didn't feel like I deserved it, but I always had the courage to show up.
Yeah.
And that's the same about dancing. Like I don't know if I've fully achieved the confidence in any dance. I just started doing belly dance for the Shimmy Mom.
Oh, really? Did you?
I don't know what I got myself into. I don't know how to belly dance.
Where are you doing that? Because that's what I want to do.
Oh,
that is absolutely what I want to do.
Oh, right. You're going to come. Okay, you
Yes.
know other people that are doing this. So
I do. Okay. So we have mutual
I'm
friends
drive
doing it.
you up there and make
Jamie,
you.
do it because remember when you wanted to sign up for dance classes with you?
Yes.
And I made excuses, and they were like not real excuses because I was scared.
I'm not going to do the belly dancing, but I'll drive you up there.
My face got hot. Yeah,
You'll
I want to
recognize
do
some people.
that.
And again, like you have the hips for this.
I know I do.
I'm just sitting there going,
I want to learn how to move the hips for it.
You know what? I think Jaccinda said the perfect thing that we'll end on today, and that's just having the courage to show up. Have the courage to do it. Not that you have to be perfect or even good at it.
Right.
Even we face this a million times in our life. Have the courage to show up. And
For yourself.
Yeah, for yourself, not for anybody else, but
right.
have the courage to show up for yourself. So,
Yes.
all right. So,
What a
audience,
great
stay
day.
tuned because I can't wait to talk about Addie when she starts taking these belly dancing classes, and so we will have her as our guest
So excited.
To actually, I'm not
for
even
a
gonna lie.
follow-up podcast.
Yay.
But
I won't
thank
demonstrate
you.
it on screen, but
Thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and we appreciate it. And thank you so much, Jaccinda, for being our guest.
Thanks for
and
having me. I'm
hopefully
very
we'll
grateful.
No,
Thank you
we'll
so
have you
much.
again. This was fun.
yes, it was fun.
All right. Thanks. We'll see you next time.